Debbie Vernon, if you'd like to come and give us your presentation. Then we'll hear from Dairy UK in the form of Louisa Candido, and then the floor will be yours. So, Debbie, welcome.
This is just in response to Peter's cow's milk. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for inviting me here to speak to you today. I'm just coming at you from a slightly different angle. We've heard a lot about bovine and cow's milk. I'm coming at you from the goat's milk angle. As you've heard, the regulations are slightly different as they apply to us. My name's Debbie Vernon. If I can find my slides. Where are we? There we go. Okay. Well, that's one of my goatees, by the way. We're based up on the North Kent Downs, so not very far from here. We produce raw goat's milk from a herd of around 400 animals. About 200 are adult milking goats, the rest are followers and young stock. We're not certified organic, but we farm to the highest standards. We try and raise our animals in as natural as an environment as possible. Our goats are allowed free-range access to grazing all year round, which is unusual for a commercial goat herd. We don't use routine hormones or antibiotics. We founded our herd about 10 years ago with 3 goats. So as you can see, we've grown over the years. I'm told that we are now the largest producer of raw goat's milk in the UK. So, raw goat's milk. Why do people drink it? Some people drink it because of the taste. Steve's mentioned this as well. Goat's milk often has a lighter, fresher taste. Good goat's milk does not taste like licking a goat. This is a common misconception. Some people also buy it because they see it as a healthier option. There's a perception that it might be lower in fat. And the goat's milk industry is also often perceived as being more cleaner, if you like, more ethical than the cow's dairy industry, which has had a lot of bad press over the years. But the vast majority of my customers, and I'm pleased to see quite a few of them here today, thank you for coming, they buy our milk because of the health benefits that they feel that it brings to them. Whatever the scientific evidence for or against it, even the seriously lactose intolerant can take raw goat's milk. It's often fermented into kefir or yogurt, but it means that they can enjoy a dairy product, and that's very important to some people. The discussion about allergies and things like this, the FSA, to quote them, there is some evidence to suggest that there may be an association between raw milk consumption in infancy and a reduced prevalence of allergic disease later in life. That's the FSA's own words. Now, we're slightly different from the cow's milk, so how do we get our milk out there? We do limited doorstep deliveries, that's me in my little van driving round. Farmers markets in London and Kent. We do retail, which the cow's milk are not allowed to do. We do direct supply to retail, me driving to a shop where they can sell it. We also wholesale the milk. I've got a wholesaler in Sussex who takes the milk frozen and a wholesaler in Bristol. And between them, they cover most of the southeast and southwest with our milk. So you'll find our milk in remote little shops in Cornwall. It always goes to small specialist shops. It is not available in supermarkets, and I would have no desire to have it sold that way. We do mail order like Steve. We sell via the internet in a controlled fashion, and I also sell it bulk to cheese makers, but that isn't the issue here. Goat's milk as we produce it is seasonal. We've got a dip in the winter when our girls are drying off and getting ready for kidding. But we do roughly, I think last year we did about 150,000 litres of raw milk. Now, when the FSA started their consultation, we provided figures and our production was much lower then. It has increased over the past couple of years quite exponentially. When we're at full chat in the summer, we do about 50% of it goes to cheesemakers and in bulk. The other 50% is split between the markets, the direct retail, the wholesale, the mail order. In the winter, when we get that dip, my bottled milk customers take priority. My cheesemaker who's here will tell you that she hasn't had milk for weeks, and I don't make my own cheese for weeks. The bottled milk customers come first, because most of them take it for health benefits, and that is important to me. Over the past 6 months, there's been a huge increase in sales, particularly the mail order, particularly the retail. Lots more people are becoming more aware of goat's milk, and there aren't many of us around. The FSA's own figures show, I think, that there's 23 producers. It's actually 22 because one's just retired. Most of those, the vast majority of those producers, only sell from the farm gate. There are only 2 or 3 of us that sell via retail or the internet, because the others are not big enough. They don't have the supply. Steve's covered the safety and hygiene a little bit, and like him, I'm very grateful to my environmental health officers in Maidstone, who have been really proactive and really helpful in getting us on track. Like the cow's milk, we have ad hoc inspections. Before we're allowed to sell, we have to be approved and licensed by the FSA, the dairy hygiene as it was, environmental health, trading standards. The milk is tested. We're unannounced inspections at least twice a year. They can turn up whenever they like and shut me down if they have a mind to do it. We test the milk by an independent laboratory for pathogenic bacteria like Salmonella, E. coli, Listeria, as well as indications of general hygiene and cleanliness. There's also a legal framework in place for things like medicated animals. If we have to medicate a sick animal, that milk is withdrawn and thrown away for a specified period of time. With regard to the safety and Phil's figures earlier, there's only ever been 2 reported outbreaks of food poisoning related to raw goat's milk. 2 outbreaks, a total of 5 people, 1983 and 1984. So pretty good track record. It would be foolish of me to say that there is absolutely no risk to health. By the very nature of animal produce, there's always going to be a tiny risk there in any food of animal origin. But all of us in the industry work really, really hard to minimise or eradicate that risk. And it would just be irresponsible of us to do otherwise. You know, apart from the ethical and moral considerations, it doesn't make good business sense to produce something that's going to make people ill. Yeah? Steve's already said, we work damn hard to make sure that you get clean, fresh, good milk. The retail environment, again, this is where we're slightly different. We do our face-to-face contacts at farmers' markets. We can talk to people there. We can make sure that they're well informed. Our indirect sales, which option 4 of the impact assessment is talking about banning. We sell via small specialist shops who've got knowledgeable staff. And in addition, all our labels, they all carry our phone number and our contact details. Any customer buying my milk can talk to me anytime they like. And I think Peter said before, people do not come on raw milk by accident. It is a positive choice. The consumer is well informed. Yeah? The mail order, we're slightly different. We do have a website, but you can't order the milk via the website. You can query with me by phone or email, and that gives me the opportunity to talk to the consumer to make sure that they know what they're getting. Yeah? We send it out by overnight courier in insulated boxes with ice packs to make sure it gets to you in peak condition. I think selling retail, it's part of the freedom of choice for the consumer as to how they buy their milk. Not everyone can get to a farmer's market, especially in urban areas. A lot of people can't afford to pay for overnight delivery for courier. It's not cheap, yeah? Even though you can get a bulk amount of milk, it's not cheap. And we know that our wholesalers and our shops are very, very careful in their handling of food and our milk, and they're very particular. And I think it needs to continue. We've got to try and reach as many people as possible. A customer must be allowed freedom of choice. As long as they're informed and fully aware of any potential risks, they should be free to purchase raw milk whenever and wherever they choose. For a lot of people, it is not a luxury item. It is an essential part of their diet. Yeah? Especially with goat's milk, it is an essential part of people's diets. We've heard people talk about the labelling. Possibly this will change, but the labelling needs to be proportionate to the risk involved. It needs to be appropriate, it needs to be informative, but not unnecessarily alarmist. We don't see dire warnings on pre-packed salad and chocolate. You know, eat this, you could die of something. But both of those have been implicated in serious food poisoning incidents over the years. As long as raw milk is produced in safe, controlled, hygienic environment, and we ensure that all the customers are informed and educated, then there should be no issue. We're not proposing that all milk shall be sold raw. If people want to consume pasteurised milk, that's their choice. But those who make the informed decision to drink raw milk should be allowed to do so. I'm just going to leave you, Steve mentioned a couple of case studies. I'm just going to give you a couple from my consumers. I'm not a doctor or a scientist, I'm just a goat keeper. I've got a family a couple of villages down from me. They've got skin conditions. You don't always know why people are buying your milk. It only comes to light afterwards. It turns out that this family have all got psoriasis and eczema. They made the switch from cow's milk to pasteurised supermarket goat's milk. They saw a slight improvement in their condition. Then they discovered that we were 2 villages up, and I delivered to them. With the raw milk, those skin conditions have almost disappeared. The whole family. I had a child, a lady came to market. We go back to this labelling. Raw milk should not be consumed by children, the elderly, the immune compromised. I had a lady come to me at one of my farmers' markets pushing a child in a pram, bright red in the face, screaming. Mother at the end of her tether, clearly. And she said, I want to give my child raw milk. I said, well, the official line is, you can't do it, you shouldn't do it. She said, I don't care. I've tried everything. This child had bloody diarrhea. She didn't sleep properly. She had so many problems. And I saw her a couple of weeks ago, after she's been on the raw milk, probably for about a year now. Sleeping, skin, beautiful skin, no digestive problems, and her mother is just a different woman. She really is. Another child under 1, a practitioner in London. Again, I didn't know why she was purchasing the milk. Naturopathic practitioner and a herbalist. She had a child, under 1, that had severe epilepsy. So severe that this child was on 6 drugs. It was medicated beyond belief. The parents had been told that it would never walk, it would never speak, it would never do anything. It was basically just existing. It would always be on drugs. And she was doing a lot of work with them because, again, at the end of their tether, they'd come to her for help. And she'd changed the diet. And a major, major part of that diet was the raw milk, raw goat's milk. The day that I found out about it was the day that child spoke its first word to its mother. And the practitioner got on the phone to me and rang me up. She said, I've got to tell you this. Because it was in the winter and our milk was restricted. And I said to her, look, I can't give you 14 pints this time. You're going to have 10. And she rang me up and she said, I have to have that milk. This is why I have to have that milk. They'd got it off 5 of the drugs. It was still on the 6th one, but that was decreasing. And it'd spoken its first word. I make no judgments. I just pass these on to you. These are stories from my consumers about why they buy raw milk. Thank you for listening.